Heyo.
Howdy, bitch.
How's it going? Welcome back to Coming Up for Air, an introspective podcast. I'm your co-host, Jaxon.
I'm your co-host, Brendan.
Not today? Not doing it?
All right, I'm Timothy, bro. I mean,
I was like waiting.
I mean, they kind of know at this point. You know what I mean? If you don't know, well, now you know. Stupid bitch.
Whoa.
Timothy.
Hope y'all are doing well.
Sir Timothy. Sir him. Mr. Timothy to you. You know what I mean?
Dr. Timothy.
Dr. Timothy. I save lives out here. That's like that new video, the little baby. They're like, there's only one man that can do his surgery. And then they actually said his name. I don't know what his name was, but it's like they like photoshopped little baby's head on like a bunch of different like Harvard like shit. And they were like, he was captain of the water polo team, yada yada, this and that. And then they have like him like in like doctor outfit, like ready to do surgery and shit like that. And he's like, scalpel.
All I think of whenever I think of Harvard is water polo. Part of that's because of that's one of the sports that I'm most popular for, and also because the Social Network.
Yeah, I feel like water polo is like
a white people thing.
It's like not even that,
a rich white people thing.
But like y'all got bored. You know what I mean? Like you really got bored.
It's just canoeing with a funny name.
Yeah, but like
stroke. I
don't like that.
That's what that's from.
I don't like that.
Well,
I don't like that.
Let's dive into a check-in, dude. Actually, wait, real quick. Let's break down what our main topic's going to be. I forgot I need to do that.
Oh, yeah.
Today, we're talking about insecurities and dealing with your inner voices.
So, I didn't know that. Oh, that's lit.
We planned it.
Yeah, you're right. But I don't know what I have for breakfast. You know what I
mean? So we're going to kind of touch on, like, learning how not to deflect, the impact that it has on relationships, both friendships and romantic, the family dynamics that it impacts, ways to feel comfortable, how to cope, how to find drive and motivation, and then job-related insecurities and stuff like that. But before we get to that, let's hit a check-in.
Yeah. So I finally got a whiteboard. I don't know where
I didn't think you would. I thought you were going to look at the screen for a second.
No, I'm not. So I finally got a whiteboard. I don't know. It's over there. I have to hang it up. But I finally have a whiteboard with like, I wrote on it one day for like daily goals. And so I just like kind of like little reminders, but I think I'm going to start to like break it out in like certain sections. That way I can like write down like daily goals, like what I'm achieving for long term, and just shit like that. You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to like organize my shit because I don't know, I've had some deep heart to hearts with like my dad I was talking to you about.
Yeah.
And just having some, I've had people literally recently kind of, especially with me like transitioning jobs and shit like that, like they're like, dog, you're so close. You know, like my dad has told me multiple times, like, I feel like anything you touch, you hit out of the park. And then before it gets out of the park, you just let it go. You know what I mean? So just trying to organize my shit and like really set myself up and taking the steps to like actually organize shit.
Yeah.
Because my everything is so unorganized. I feel like if I had my shit just a little bit organized, it might translate into me getting my shit together.
Yeah, I mean, organization is where a lot of that comes from.
You know what I mean? So I feel like if I'm organized and I have like certain like OCD things or, you know, just certain things I'm picky about, then like it'll start to fall in place.
With you kind of like getting your shit together and with things that are happening around you, I do on the podcast want to quickly shout out like, I do on the podcast really quick want to shout out like congrats on getting into Roots Gaming in RG.
Thanks,
I know that's
man.
public now, so like
yeah,
I know I've talked to you about it off.
Yeah, honestly, that it was super cool.
You want to explain what that is really quick?
Yeah, so Roots Global Entertainment is it's one of the biggest esports teams out in Hawaii. Well, they're based out of Hawaii. It's a like a Polynesian team, but they obviously, you know, accept anybody who they feel represents what culture they're trying to, you know, present. Which is obviously they make it very family oriented. They're very like good vibes, like we're here, like
these are our people.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like as a human being type shit. Like they're on some, I just want to be able to help people out and make people smile. You know what I mean? Like they're helping a bunch of people go to TwitchCon. They're getting a huge, they're getting like a huge team house, an Airbnb that has like 16 beds. It has a whole bunch of shit.
Are you going?
No, honestly, I'm not going, only because I think I need to get my shit together a little bit more with like Twitch and like understanding how the Twitch world works.
I think it'd be cool if we went to TwitchCon together.
Yeah, it'd be super dope. I think I'd be down. But for me, it's just more like I need to set up my stream a little bit better. I need to get my shit going a little bit more before I can really like confidently like come at somebody. You know what I mean? And be like, yeah, I'm a streamer, yada yada, this and that. Like I still have a lot of room to grow, and there's always room to grow. I just think I need to pick up my shit a little bit more before I can like genuinely like start stepping out for that. But yeah, RG is it's a family, man. They're super cool people. My brother originally had joined, and when he had joined, he kind of told him like, yo, like keep an eye out on my brother. He's a really cracked ass Apex player. You know, he's always like on some good vibes, smoking, yada yada, the whole 9 yards. And you know, they kind of just watched me from then on out, and I kind of ventured in, and you know, I got cool with all the homies, you know, Seth and shit like that. When we were doing the custom games, we met a lot of good people, and was able to interact with a lot of good people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's really cool. I'm excited to see where it takes me. I like me personally, I just need to do my part in promoting myself, and then like really fall in love with it. You know what I mean? And I think it's just like
finding where that starts.
Yeah, it's a me thing. You know what I mean? And I think I just need to put my head down and start doing it. But yeah, it's a really big step, and yeah, it's a part of getting my shit together. You know what I mean? Like I now have an even bigger opportunity to be able to blow up as a content creator or a gamer. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah,
you never know what happens. You know?
Yeah, congrats, man. I know we talked about it off.
Yeah, no, I appreciate
the record.
It. But for the peeps, you know what I mean? Yeah. But yeah, man. Shout out to Roots Global. Gang shit. You know what I mean? You'll see it if you follow my personal Instagram. Yeah, I'm sure I'll post up about it. I posted on Twitter about it. I'm gonna start doing my clips on Instagram and shit like that. It has the RG intros and stuff like that. So you'll start seeing a little bit more of RG around on my name. Oh yeah, just keep a lookout for it. Show some love.
Awesome.
What about you, big dog?
I want to talk about a conversation that I had with my stepbrother on my birthday, or shortly as my birthday celebration with them.
Did he get stuck in a dryer?
Yeah. No, we were talking about this. We were talking about the podcast.
Oh, sorry.
Because he listens. He kind of checks in and out. So he'll like listen to episodes. He doesn't always finish them, but he like will listen to them in batches and then get caught up, and he'll talk to me every now and then about some of them.
Hell yeah.
But he was talking to me, and he was like, I really wish, he was like, I love the podcast. He's like, but it is a very personal podcast at times. He's like, I kind of wish sometimes you guys would focus on some other stuff. And he was like, it'd be really cool if you guys touched on things that are like world topics that are like, which is something that I want to talk about right now, which is like, one thing that he brought up was the way that we use waters, the way that humans use water. And so it's like this more of a general topic that isn't necessarily self-help, but more of human condition type stuff. Mm-hmm. Which I also think is really cool stuff for us to touch on. So if you have any topics like that you want to hear us talk about, like feel free to reach out, type in the comments, whatever, you know, hit us up on.
Yeah, y'all
socials.
Are giving us more ammo. Like, do not be afraid to be like, oh, this is a stupid idea.
It really, really helps us.
No, like I promise you, we'll take what you could literally say the most vaguest. I don't even know that that's a word. But the most vague, like vague-esque, just fucking topic ever where it has no fucking like detail to it,
and we'll find something.
We'll find a detail in there to be like, yeah, we could talk about this part to it. You know what I mean? Just because like we've talked about very vague details or very vague topics,
and then kind of zone in whenever we're like, this is something we're interested in.
You know what I mean? So I think that's something we're really good at.
But he basically was like, you know, I like that is a really cool idea, and that's something that I'd like to see. And I was like, that's actually a great idea. And so really quick, I wanted to talk about like the way that we as humans would use water. We're in an area where we are currently technically in a drought or entering a drought. And California has been in a drought forever, and a couple other places. And that's for a lot of reasons. But it
just hailed last night, so
yeah,
that was cool.
But like it boils down to the way that we like use water so irrationally.
Yeah.
You know, there are so many times where I'm like, damn, we just constantly are wasting water. Like, think about water fountains, how much water usage that is and constantly generating and using. And that's why a lot of them get shut down. Or like, if you go to California, a lot of them aren't open anymore. And they say like, for water usage, like, you know, but like you even just start to think like of all the things you do, like if you let your shower run while you're not in it for like 15 minutes, yeah, that's just you. But think about how much water that is per second. How many seconds are there in a minute? How long is that water running? And that water gets recycled, like moved in a situation, right? And then you think, if I'm doing this for 15 minutes and then my homie who lives in the same house or the homie next door does it for 5 minutes, or like that shit adds up so quickly.
Yeah, it's just to add up. I'm definitely guilty of that shit.
And then like you think about like, oh, all of the jobs that use water so carelessly, and like you just fuck around with the water, and like the, you know, or water parks, which are like not many people really like them, and they're gross and icky. In my personal opinion, I think they're so nasty.
Water parks do be kind of dirty.
Yeah,
I haven't been to a water park in a minute.
Going to a water park feels like I'm licking the floor of Vegas, like just walking down the strip with my tongue on the concrete.
Can we make that? I kind of want to see that happen.
No, because I'm a little bit of a germaphobe.
I think I would piss myself if I saw you go in the middle of Vegas and fucking,
I was the fucking SpongeBob.
I would actually lose my shit.
But like that concept of just like we waste so much water and use it so impractically all the time for things that like we really shouldn't. Like the dichotomy of how like of water is really bad. Water economics.
Another big word for Elmo.
And so, you know, if you're in that situation, like water will get more expensive and we're going to run out of water eventually. It is a resource. It's just like helium. We're going to run out of helium in like 15 years. And every time that I say this to somebody, they always go, why does that matter to me? We don't need balloons. And I go, because helium is used to make all of your electronics. It compresses all of your fibers and all of your stuff to make the electronics that we use every day possible. Things like your car.
So all of our gamers are going to be fucked in like 15 years.
Not even just that. How are you going to have a cell phone? We can't make any more.
No.
Unless they find another alternative.
Elon Musk will come up with it.
Yeah, okay.
He'll take helium from Mars.
But there's like all those little tiny like concepts that are super, super interesting that I think we could talk about. Even if it's just in micro doses where we talk about them on like a check-in or whatever.
No.
Because those are kind of harder topics to fill a whole hour worth of episode, which is an actuality about 40 minutes of us talking about a topic. But yeah, like be fucking smart about your water usage. Be careful. Because like, and it's funny because literally I remember having a conversation with my ex where I was like, hey, don't leave that running. And they're like, why? And I was like, because you're wasting water. Yeah. And she's like, so? And I was like, one, it's my water bill. I pay for that.
He said, so chill out.
And two, like you're wasting water. There's no need for that. Yeah. Anyway.
No, I feel
shit.
I feel like I was gonna go somewhere with that. I was definitely gonna say something, and then that thought left my head.
As all thoughts do. Thoughts can't stay in your mind.
I'm not gonna comment on that. We're gonna leave that one alone.
Let's hit our main topic, dude. Let's hop in. This is kind of an early one for us. We're only hopping in at 15. We normally hit about 20.
Swear.
Yeah, 15, 20 is kind of give or take where we are.
Well, then again, we usually do end up fucking
but
recording for like.
Hopefully the quality looks a lot better with the switch up.
Facts. We'll see. Hopefully.
And maybe I'll change my mind and say that this light looks like shit.
You're a goofy.
That's actually technically what you're supposed to do for lighting, by the way. In production, it's like the concept is half warm, half blue lighting, and you do boom, 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 boom. And it's supposed to be a 50-50 to give you the most natural style of lighting, as if you were in daylight.
So what we're doing right now?
Yeah, but that's not enough, technically.
Mm.
Technically, if we want to get really into it, we need like the big lights that are like orange, and then we could have like a top bar that's blue.
Okay.
If we really want to get technical.
We can make it happen, but we just gotta.
That's a time thing.
Yeah.
We gotta see where this goes.
Yeah.
We gotta get this sorted.
Yeah, but this is pissing me off.
We're talking about our background for our audio listeners.
Yeah, you have no idea. These sound panels have been a pain in my ass.
Also, for all the people that have been rating the podcast, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Really appreciate you, bro. Kiss you on the forehead. If no one's kissed you on the forehead,
Bigger number, better person.
think about it. What would God do? You know what I mean? What would the universe do? Put out what you want.
Brendan, insecurities.
Man.
Everybody got them.
Everybody and their mama got them.
And everybody got an inner voice.
Everybody got that shit. But nobody know how to handle it, bro.
I wanna kind of start with what a lot of people do with insecurities is deflect. And I think that there's
like
a lot of ways to kind of go about talking about insecurities and the ways to deal with them in your inner voices. And that gets a little complicated because there's not really a good spot for us to say, let's dive in. Because I'm not going to have us sit here and explain what an insecurity is because I think everybody in the mama knows. But I do want to say, like, what is deflecting? What is, like, deflecting onto somebody?
So, like, if you try and not even, like, call somebody out, but if you try, like, as a homie, right, you're like, listen, dog, I think you're doing this incorrectly. Or I think you could be doing this a little bit better. And then this person goes, well, how about you start doing this? How about you yada, yada, yada?
Why are you in therapy?
Yeah. Why are you blah, 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 blah? And you're like, whoa, dude, there's no need to come at me like that. I literally am coming out of a place of love and a place of like, I'm caring about you and I really think that this would help you. And then that person just turns and shits on them. You know what I mean? Because they don't know how to handle their own fucking problems on the inside.
Yeah, and sometimes that person is presenting a counter argument, and sometimes that person is saying like, hey, well, you're holding double standards right now. Like, you're telling me to do this thing, but you're not even doing it for yourself.
And that is a tough thing, only because it's a lot easier to give somebody advice from the outside than taking your own.
And that's true, but I'm just playing devil's advocate of like...
Yeah, and I know, and I think the thing with that is like, even if someone is in a worse situation, quote unquote, or like they don't know how to take their own advice, that doesn't mean that like whatever they're saying or whatever they're trying to tell you
is invalid.
Yeah, it isn't valid. Like, because people from the outside 9 times out of 10 see what's going on, like, from both sides. So you have a very unbiased thing, even like with like, it's different, a little different with homies, but I don't know, like even like in the workplace sometimes, you know what I mean? Like if you're not really homies with 2 people and you see the outside of everything that's going on, you can kind of gauge who's right and who's wrong. You know what I mean? In a sense, because no one's ever really right or wrong.
And I think that's something we've seen a lot.
You know what I mean? But it's just more of like you're in the right.
You're definitely not doing the best.
You know what I mean? But and then this person is kind of in the wrong, but I also see both points. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And it's, I think a lot of people don't understand that, like, once you kind of handle or have a grip on your own insecurities, you can start to see other people's perspective and like start to genuinely like take what they say into consideration.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's definitely the act of like, I'm not going to listen to you because I don't want to come to terms with it.
And
pushing it off.
Not only that, but I feel like a lot of people don't expect, like you could have somebody completely random who doesn't know you, who, if it's like a mutual friend or like, you know,
a coworker,
you know what I mean? Randomly. And they hang around you for maybe like an hour and a half, and they can tell that, like, you know, even if you're having a rough day, if like you're just in a mood or something like that, you know, and they come up to you and be like, hey, like, it looks like blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? But I think you could be able to do this. And, you know, 9 times out of 10, people are like, yeah, whatever, who the fuck is this? Like, but when you start to like step back and listen to whoever it is, your local neighborhood crackhead on the corner, if he's spitting some shit out of his head, there's, even if it's 0.01, there's something to be learned from it. And I always believe that.
And I think that insecurities kind of are interesting because you can gauge a lot of people's insecurities by very short interactions with somebody. if I'm honest. Like interactions come and go, and there's a lot of room to gauge and learn things. And I literally had this with one of my friends where something happened with her and I wanted to say something, but I was like, I don't think that our friendship is at a point where I can tell you that this is a bad idea. Yeah. And she knows who she is. She knows what I'm talking about, because we've talked about it. And she was like, yeah, you're right. If you would have told me in that moment, I would have been pissed and I probably wouldn't have talked to you. And I'm like, there needs to be a level of understanding with people that not everybody is trying to be hostile or pretend that like they know everything about you.
No.
Because the moment that you kind of like say, hey, maybe this person is seeing something that I don't because they don't know me, or because they are in a situation where I have told them these things and they're seeing stuff that I can't because I'm blind to the people around me, or I'm so used to this
blind to whatever situation is happening that I let my feelings overcome.
Yeah, and I'm so used to this like environment, and so this person is getting fresh eyes. So even if it's someone who doesn't know you, and you go and you say like, oh, dude, like this interaction happened, and then that person's like, hey, dude, maybe this person isn't the best in your life, or hey, dude, like maybe if you like go about approaching this in a different way, that it'll turn out better for you. And if your first instinct is to be like, fuck that person, they don't know me, they don't know what I got, they don't know what my life is like, they
know my name, not my story.
Dude, that's also one of my big pet peeves, along with the what is along with the iPad baby thing. That is also one of my biggest pet peeves, and it's always the motherfuckers that I do know that say it to me.
All of us at the D&D table.
But like, you know, take that second and be like, maybe this isn't a personal thing. Maybe this isn't them coming at me. Maybe this is them genuinely trying to help me.
That's like with, right? It happens.
Whoa.
It happens on both ends, right? Both male and female, right? This is a human being thing, right?
We're about to do a fucking forehead not like this moment, huh?
Listen, right? So when people who are in a toxic relationship, right?
Okay, Brendan, I just want you to know the reason why I said that is because sometimes Brendan says some stuff that I sit there when I'm editing, I'm like, man, I should really just edit this out.
No, listen, right? So in a toxic relationship, right? Mm-hmm. People are always like, oh, like, you know, my boyfriend or girlfriend won't let me do this because blah, 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 this and that. And they're always usually they're just ranting, right? And then you go, wow, it sounds like you shouldn't be with that person, right? People just talking shit, or like people who genuinely are like, that sounds like he's not good for you. It could be a random person in the world. Automatically, they come to the defense of the good times. You know why? Because they don't want to face the truth about the relationship.
Yes, but I will say sometimes it is bitching to bitch.
Absolutely.
Sometimes it is like...
But majority of the time, the stuff that they bitch about is like, bro, you shouldn't even let that slide. It'd be different.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be different if it was bitching like, damn, bro, I stubbed my toe and, you know...
Damn, dude, Lorelai really doesn't pick up her fucking laundry.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, you can talk to her about that. Like, that's just bitching to bitch. You know what I mean? But if it's like, hey, they called me a piece of shit.
Yeah, hey, Lorelai threw a bottle of alcohol at me.
Yeah, and it's like, maybe you shouldn't be with that person. Then you're like, nah, they're good people. I'm like, nah, it doesn't really sound like, even if they are a good person, they're not good with you or for you. And people don't know how to fucking accept that, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, in those relationships, even in friendships, bro, where they're like, damn, bro, like, I've been friends with this person for so long, like, I can't, like, bail on this person like that. You know what I mean? There. Yeah, I bet, because, like, all your homies are, like, from, like, childhood.
Yeah, all my homies are from elementary school and middle school.
Which blows my mind, because that's not normal.
No, it's really not. And definitely there are times throughout all of our friendships, you know, there's a lot of people that we don't have in that friend group anymore.
Yeah.
And it's still like that. It's gotten really small. And I think that there's definitely been a lot of times where I'm like, these people just aren't good for me to have around. And, you know, I think that's something that I'm still trying to kind of navigate and come to terms with a lot of people, because you want to hold on to the good times. You want to hold on to the things that are like, look at all these positive memories that I have.
Look at all those chickens.
Look at this photograph. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. But like, that's not the good times and the memories that you want to hold on to. You can still have, but holding on to them doesn't make them the prominent thing in that relationship.
Yeah.
Because it's not.
Yeah, I mean, anybody
was correct.
Anybody who comes into your life, I think we've said it before, it's they're chapters. You know what I mean? And like even in relationships, 9 times out of I hate you. 9 times out of 10, like that relationship is probably gonna end. Like if you look at statistics, right? Until maybe like 20 something, I don't know, maybe 30 something.
Yeah.
You'll find somebody to actually marry. You know what I mean? So like as you're young, bro, like don't be like, this is the person I'm gonna end my life with.
Unless you're Mormon.
Unless even then, I know so many Formans.
Oh yeah, well yeah, you know me, and like I wasn't fully Mormon, but like I grew up around it all the time.
Yeah, I feel you, but yeah, the amount of people who are like, yeah, I'm Mormon, and then I saw what you were doing on Saturday night, I was like, Jesus, not gonna fuck with you, dog. You are not getting into heaven, bro. Let me tell you something.
I got bad news for you. There's a lot of loopholes in Mormon mindset.
I'll tell you what, bro. Level 4 of hell is waiting for them. You know what I mean? Level 5, 6, and 7 want to come say hi.
Going down.
Yeah, literally. But yeah, it's let's
kind of pivot.
It's always tough.
You know, we kind of define deflecting and what it looks like. So I want you to talk about how you kind of learn to not deflect onto others and how you kind of take responsibility for that, or just like knowing the impact that deflecting can have, even and like how to tell that you're doing it.
I think the biggest.
No, you're good.
It kind of goes to like, if your first instinct is to 1, retaliate, 2, if you automatically get angry off of what someone else says, do yourself the favor, take like 0.4 seconds, breathe, back up, come with some calmness. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's no shame also in cooling down from a conversation and then reapproaching it later. Be like, hey, I don't want to say nothing I don't mean. We'll come back in 5.
Yeah, bro. Like, hey, do me a favor. What you just said kind of irritated me a little bit. So I'm going to take a lap. You know what I mean? I'm going to collect my thoughts before I say some dumbass shit. And we could talk about this good, just like you said. And I think not a lot of people know how to do that, let alone respect it. Because a lot of people are like, no, like we can just talk about it right now. If someone...
And I'm somebody who does that myself, who's like, I need a minute before we keep talking.
Yeah.
And I still struggle sometimes where somebody says that to me and I'm like, I want to do this now.
Yeah.
And like, it's a human thing. It's impatience.
Yeah, absolutely. It's about getting, and it's also a satisfaction thing. Like when you know you're kind of on a roll and
I'm like, I'm right. And I know I'm right now because I can tell how upset you are.
Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's like, once you start like low key pushing people's buttons and shit like that, and you start to get going, a lot of people do fucking, just keep going at it. But I think when you have somebody on both ends, people need to learn how to calm the fuck down and approach a situation with an easy mindset, because then that you save yourself not only a lot of stress, but a lot of fucking just angriness, you know what I mean? And a lot of emotions that can be saved by just taking that breather, right? And then going back up to that person. And if that person is still coming at you in a way that you don't feel is respectful, then you obviously let them know that. And you go, we could talk about this when you want to be human beings about it. You know what I mean? And I think on the other end of that, if you are ever correcting somebody, 1, say it. Humans would be so much better off if we learned the art of delivery.
Yeah.
It is all about how you deliver whatever you're saying. You can say that. Have you ever seen someone get disrespected in a nice way?
Yeah.
Where they just like it, but they don't get it. Where they get shit on.
There's a clip. This is some nerd shit. All right. There's a show called Critical Role. Right? It's the D&D show that I like, right? There's a scene in the second campaign, and I just saw it on TikTok, and I was like, damn, I forgot about this scene. But this is one of the best moments in roleplay. And one of the characters is talking to another, and it's an NPC that he's talking to. Mm-hmm. So one of the PCs is talking to an NPC. Mm-hmm. And the NPC is an asshole. He's like, and he literally, like, at one point in the conversation is like, fear is power because that's how you make people listen to you. That's how you make people stronger. And before they leave, the PC goes, you're wrong. Power comes from love. It's what strengthens people. It's what gives people heart. It's what gives people motivation. It's what makes people live. And he said, I wish for you to find that. I wish for you to find somebody to mourn you when you're gone. And it's like such a respectful way to say it, but also like, what the fuck?
Yeah, basically just like shit on their whole entire being.
Yeah, and you literally see the DM go.
Yeah, because at that point it's literally like, he's saying like you're alone. And
you will be.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Because you're a piece, like you're just being a piece of shit.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of people don't realize, like, and in the sense that he's right, bro. If you start coming at things in a place of love, whether you're trying to help somebody out, whether you're trying to critique something, whether you've known that person or whether you're a random ass person, come from a place of love, learn how to deliver it to a fucking human being correctly. You have no idea what traumas people have. You have no idea what triggers people have. If you come at them with any type of slight, like, there's multiple, we both know a lot of females who, as soon as a male raises their voice, they automatically shut down.
Yeah, and I know guys that are the opposite way.
You know what I mean? Like, as soon as someone raises their voice, boom, their entire personality, everything shuts down. You know what I mean? And they're just in that mode.
Yeah, and that's not to say that it is all on the person trying to talk to the person deflecting, because sometimes it is the deflector. Sometimes it is the person who's deflecting that is like, hey, like, you need to not deflect for this conversation to work.
Yeah.
Because that's what a lot of this boils down to, is like, if you're deflecting, it also is still not getting through to you. You're not wanting to listen.
Yeah, because at some point you have to face, like, to a certain extent, even if the person you're trying to talk to is in the wrong or you're in the wrong, there's still truth to both sides. You know what I mean? I don't think ever. That's why I always think, like, no one's ever really wrong.
No.
Someone might be more in the right and make more sense of something, but there's always still some truth to whatever somebody says, because in their mind they believe that it makes sense like that. And then if they learn how to, it's actually this way, then they're just learning. You know what I mean? But at some point, if to them it makes sense, there's got to be some truth to it. You know what I mean?
One thing that I've kind of learned over the past, like, 6 months of talking to people and having hard conversations about insecurities, and just kind of like dealing with inner voice and stuff, is whenever I would go to talk to them about something that I'm very serious about, whether it be one of my insecurities, and I'm telling them, like, hey, I need to talk to you about this because you're part of it.
Yeah.
Like, you kind of make some of it worse, which is, you know, you can have those conversations. It's okay to tell somebody, like, hey, when you do this, it makes my insecurities worse. And, like, obviously insecurities are something you should work on, but the people around you should want to help you with that.
Yeah.
But don't make it,
don't force
your relationship also,
yeah,
for them to be helping you with your insecurities.
Yeah, and it's always like we've talked about it. It's always reciprocating. You know what I mean? So if someone's helping you out, and you can tell that, you know, you have someone around you that is bettering you. You also have to be the type of person, all right, this person's helping me become a better person. How can I help them?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because if you're just taking, at some point that person is going to realize, I can't keep giving to this person because I'm not getting anything in return. And it sounds like, they're looking for something in return.
Mm-hmm.
But in today's world, if you're not getting something in return, you're gonna get fucked over at some point. And not even like you always need something in return energy wise. Like, something
you will burn out.
Something has to be benefiting you to keep you running.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Something has to keep you going in that certain lane for you to continuously attack it the way you do. Because at some point, you're just gonna burn yourself out, like you said.
Yeah, and to really quick circle back, that thing that I learned over the past 6 months and I've been practicing is whenever I need to have that conversation with somebody, I look at them and I go, hey, I need to talk to you. And then they'll, you know, say whatever they need to say, like, yeah, what's up? I'll be like, but I need you to listen. And I don't just mean like, listen, I need you to like actually hear what I'm saying and listen to me.
Yeah.
And that part of that, like really solidified in the past like month or so for me was when you were talking about the thing that your coach used to say to you, which is like, y'all are just listening to reply.
Yeah, you're listening to respond. Yeah. You know what I mean? You're not listening to actually hear what I'm saying.
Yeah, and that's like what really like also hammered into me, like, this is the path that I need to go down. Like, this is like how I need to approach these conversations. Because if you tell somebody like, hey, I really need you to actually just listen to me. I don't necessarily need you to say anything, but I need you to hear how I feel, and I need you to actually like take into account what I'm saying. That's when people kind of like, okay, this is something that means something.
Yeah.
You know, it kind of sets the standard and of like, this is what this conversation is.
It sets the tone. It kind of lets them know like a seriousness to it.
How we kind of already touched on it a little bit, but we're kind of already in the topic of like how it impacts your friendships and relationships. So let's kind of dive into that. What are your ways that insecurities and your inner voice can kind of impact those relationships, both romantically inclined and just like platonically, like your friendships and stuff like that?
In a friendship way, I think it's that inner voice that automatically wants to fire off at people You know what I mean? I think it's the inner voice that's like, that we talked about, that where it's like, you know, oh, fuck this person. You know what I mean? Because if someone automatically like tries to critique you or say something and they don't really know you, automatically you're in your mind, you're like, yo, who the fuck is this? I do it all the time. You know what I mean? And then it's
defensive.
Like, yeah, it's just automatically like you're on fucking 10 off rip. You know what I mean? So, but taking the time to be like, step back and be like, all right, bro, chill out. You know what I mean? And then, all right. And then, you know, like for me, like when someone tries to critique me or something like that, and I think I get angry off of it, I'm like, yo, like repeat that one more time. Like, tell me again. You know what I mean? Like, let me really hear you.
Yeah. And sometimes the like repeat that is an intimidating thing of like, oh, dude, he's going to be pissed. Like you can tell like that.
Yeah.
And punched a nerve for you.
Yeah. And that's why like sometimes like for me, I have to calm down because I'm like, I'll sit there and be like, all right, this person's really trying to help me out. Like whenever me and you have talks and I know that you're going to be right most of the time, we're both people who don't like being wrong. You know what I mean? So when it comes to, if you come to me and be like, hey bro, like get your shit together. You know what I mean? Whatever it be, whether it be like streaming or like, you know, clipping and shit like that. It's like, all right, bro, I know he's right. I know he's going to say some fucking like some good ass shit. He's going to make some good points. You know what I mean? I have to be the person who's willing to accept these points, understand that he's coming out of a, hey, I want you to grow as a human being.
And I always try to be very careful about how I word things.
You know what I mean?
Because I never mean for it to be like
no, and I know that, but I also know that me and you have been in enough situations where we've been fucking just
heated.
Not even that, but people have come at us so hard and try to belittle us and, you know, basically like tear us down without realizing what they're doing to us. You know what I mean? I know we both have had that. So we're both the type of people when we try and come at somebody, we do it from a place of love, of not tearing down, but hey, this is what I feel about this situation. This is my opinion, whether you want to take it or not. And that's why I think that's why a lot of people come to us for advice, because 9 times out of 10, we'll tell them, I'm going to tell you straight up, whether you take it or not, boy, you obviously came to me for a reason. Everybody knows it. You know what I mean?
Because I'm tall. I could reach all the difficult to reach shelves. And you said it wasn't a comedy podcast. Fuck you, guy from Instagram.
Wow, you still that was a while ago.
Yeah, but you know why? It's because I figured out who it was. I went to high school with them. Oh, yeah. Because I was like, dude, because I was just like checking our Instagram because I was looking at stats, to kind of get a gauge on where we were at, analytics. And then I saw it again. And I was like,
numbers guy.
And I was like, I know that guy. I know him. And that's how we found it, probably.
That's lit.
Also not, because he didn't listen to it.
Fuck him.
Comedy.
Wasn't for him.
True. Anyway.
I hate you.
What?
You're such a goofer.
You know what they say about us tall white guys? We've got huge depression.
You know, I was such on this like straight and narrow path.
But you know why
like,
people also like to talk to us?
I was really like getting into this and like I was zoning out.
Do you know why people really like to talk to us also?
This motherfucker said, so I could reach the top shelves.
Do you know why people actually like to come to us also? It's also because we're really good at coming up.
Yeah, that's true. We do crack a lot of jokes in the middle.
And that's the thing is like we're really good at breaking the tension really quick and then resetting. Because we can pull into a conversation right back again.
You know why? Because it's all about our delivery. Because we're so good at pulling out.
Amazon. Oh, wait. We went different ways. We went very different ways with that.
Our pullout game is phenomenal.
Lego.
You know what I mean? And then we can just hop back into it.
How do you think it impacts your romantic relationships?
That's perfect. Our pullout game's fantastic. We do great. No, I'm just playing. I mean, not really, but in relationships, I think honestly a lot of people in relationships don't know how to have that conversation where they're being honest with each other. I think a lot of people just try and stop laughing, bitch. Shut up, bitch. I'm trying to be serious here. You good?
Yeah.
I think people in relationships don't know how to have those honest conversations with each other of like, hey, I feel like dog shit right now. Or like, hey, like, I think a lot of people, when someone says in a relationship, I'm not happy, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's because of their significant other. That's what makes me if you rely on your significant other to be a main source of happiness, you are now draining them of their own life force. Yes, that person should bring you joy. Yes, that person should bring you happiness.
They shouldn't be your primary.
You know what I mean?
They can't be your primary source of happiness because here's the thing. Love is like any other emotion. This is the best way I can put it. It is a chemical balance is the way some people look at it. Some of people look at it as like a fate thing where you feel this thing, and some people look at it as like a raw emotion, which is typically what I do. I try not to look at it as a chemical balance because I think that it really kind of fucks up your perception of that feeling, and it really dehumanizes yourself. And it really like kind of it's what I think a lot of people who have been hurt or like are scared of that type of emotion do to disconnect themselves to prevent getting too close to people. So I try to look at it as like just an emotion thing. And it's like any other emotion. It comes and goes in waves.
Anytime I get close to it, I run the opposite way.
And this is coming from somebody who's been in multiple year-long relationships. You know, relationships that have lasted a very long time.
It's just because you're fucking hot, dude.
And it comes and goes in waves. There's plenty of times where I was in said relationships. Obviously, those relationships didn't work out. But like where I was like not in love, but I still liked the person. I still wanted to be around them. And then it picked back up because it's an ebb and flow thing. You have to like the people you're with.
Yeah. And
they have to bring you some form of happiness, but it has to come at like a standard form. It can't just be like, you know.
Yeah, like I ain't gonna lie to you. Like for me, I think that's why I'm like so afraid is because I know if I'm not afraid to find someone that I can genuinely fuck with. But I think I'm looking for somebody who I can fuck with to the extent of like, I can be around you this often. You know what I mean?
And insecurities are definitely a big part of that. And that does boil down to communication, which is the thing that we say. If we had like a rule list on this podcast, like a top 3 rules, it'd be like communicate, be a good fucking human being, and
fuck bitches,
get money. Yeah, that's honestly the first thing that I thought. But like that
disrespect women, acquire currency.
And that's kind of like my thing is it does boil down.
That's getting edited out.
Yeah, it does boil down to communication in that sense of like if you and I'm somebody who in a relationship constantly tells my son about like we need to communicate, and I still struggle at it. There's times where I definitely drop the ball on it.
Yeah, and I think the thing with me is like, especially when it comes to finding somebody, I want to find someone where I can literally like be in a room, not say a damn word, but we're chilling. Mm-hmm. Like I like being in people's presence, but not necessarily.
Sometimes you don't have to be interacting with them.
You know what I mean? Like
sometimes you can literally just be like, I'm over here, and like for me, it would be like I'm over here and I'm editing, I'm working, I'm doing my thing, but you being around is cool.
Yeah, like it makes me feel good.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You can be over there watching a movie, TikTok, whatever the fuck.
Yeah, do your own thing, you know, and if there's something that you have to go do, if there's something that, you know, you'd rather be doing than just like chilling, by all means, go do your shit. You know what I mean? But it just, like, I don't know, it's hard to find people who are like, I can be around you this often. You know what I mean? Like, you have to genuinely fuck with that person.
You don't communicate and you let those insecurities pile up, that it tears down a relationship. A relationship is non-functioning if the bulk of it is one person dealing with the other person's insecurities.
Especially off rip. Like if you're the type of person that like, if you're coming with, regardless, you're going to come with some type of baggage from whatever you had before. But if you're the type of person who can lay it down on first, like, yo, I've gotten over this by myself, but I'm still worried about these things, these said things, or I'm still learning to heal from these said things. You already had put this person on notice. If that person decides to cross those lines, that is that shitty person's fault. That is not your fault. You are just trusting another human being, and at some point, you have to do that to be able to grow.
Yeah,
and that's what I'm learning.
And in insecurities, I think one of the biggest point outs of it is the checking your phone, checking somebody else's phone.
Bro,
I see that shit.
That shit is so toxic.
And you know what's crazy? I just saw a TikTok this morning while I was waiting for my phone to charge. I saw it this morning, and it was a girl and her friend had checked his phone. And then he said he was going to work, and then she checked his phone before he left, and he was like, oh, I'll meet you at the Starbucks in 15 minutes, to some girl, some random number that the girl didn't know. So the wifey shows up with her friend, her homegirl, to the Starbucks, sees them, and she's like, I want you to record it. we're gonna go confront him. Turns out, and the dude is like, hey, why the fuck are you here? She said, you said you were going to work, you lied to me, who is this bitch? All this shit, like, comes at him completely sideways, makes a scene, and he's like, I need you to take a second and listen to me. And then the girl stands up and she's pregnant. And so she's like, how long has this been going on? Are you fucking kidding me? Because she immediately assumes that it's his baby. They end up like going over to the side talking, and the person holding the camera also is flipping shit a little bit. And he's like, we're planning a surprise party. And the woman has paper in front of her, like a whole notebook. And she like shows her the notes. She's like, he's like, we're planning a surprise party for you for your birthday. That is in a month. And she's a party planner, and it was going to be a big thing. And then the girl like starts breaking down.
Dumb bitch.
But like that all to say, like, insecurities can really destroy everything if you let them. And like,
I hope you know if that shit ever happened to me, bro.
it's time to leave.
Bro,
if you have to check somebody's phone because you're so scared that they're gonna cheat on you, you're not ready to be in a relationship.
I used to be,
or they better have shown you why you're doing that.
Yeah, I used to be one of those relationships, and honestly, I gave him pretty good reason to be one of those people. But also in the same sense, it was also like.
But you also have to be able to move past it if you're wanting to stay in that relationship.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah, I definitely learned my lesson though. I learned how to respect women and
move forward,
be a good guy, and you be a good guy. You know what I mean.
Let's quickly touch on family dynamics when it comes to insecurities, which is something that I think we're both pretty familiar with. And I think that takes a lot of forms. So for some people, it's like a whole thing of family issues. For other people, it's like, I just don't feel like my relationship with X parent is very good because of X, Y, and Z, or they make me feel this way. And let me just say, there's nothing wrong with cutting family out of your life. It is completely okay and natural for family to not exist in your life if they are causing you problems, if they make you feel awful, or they are drastically impacting your life in a negative way. Because there are other people,
I've always said it since I've been a kid, playing sports and stuff like that, and like
family found is better than blood family, in my opinion.
Yeah, and it's I mean, the way I've said it is blood doesn't make you family, loyalty does.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's the people who are most loyal to you. It's the people who, try and day in and day out make you a better person. It's the people who are there for you. First phone call, pick up.
Yeah. And that can be blood family. Family found can still be blood.
Yeah, absolutely. There are some, there are still some solid, blood family that like, yeah, sometimes they fuck up, do their whole thing, and, but they still have your back no matter what. You know what I mean? Yeah, everyone's got dirt on their hands, but a lot of people don't know how to move past it.
How do you deal with that dynamic of insecurities with your family? Like, how do you talk to them about it? How do you try to heal that?
It's really hard when
remove it.
It's really hard when I think it takes at least one or two drastic things to happen, especially when it comes to like parents. Cause from you being young, your parents automatically, I know what's best for this kid. I'm going to do whatever I can to put this kid in the best possible situation.
And sometimes you don't as a parent, just so you know.
Yeah. And that's the thing is that a lot of the times, they think that they know what's best. And obviously like, this is my kid. I'm going to do what's best for my kid, yada, yada. But also in the same sense, sometimes you really don't know what's best for your kid. Because you guys are still growing just as much as that kid.
Yeah. And really quick, as a quick aside, the worst thing that you can do as a parent to fester insecurities for your child and make them not want to talk to you about issues is whenever they go against what you said and then you were right and then you tell them, I told you so, or I told you this would happen. Or not. Instead of just being there and being like, I know this hurts, I'm sorry.
Yeah, because like obviously the thing about being a parent is like, this kid's going to make these dumbass mistakes. Like, he's going to have to learn like the simple right from wrongs and the little things and stuff like that. So when you try and tell them like, yo, don't do this because this is going to happen, and then they do it anyway, you go, okay, well now you learned. Sorry that shit happened, but don't do the whole I told you so. Don't.
That festers insecurity.
Yeah.
That's what forms them even more.
Yeah, you're belittling that kid now. You know what I mean? So then at that point now, this kid's not going to want to talk to you about the next thing because then they're just going to be like, no, because then this is going to happen. And then when they still do it, because 9 times out of 10 kids will still do it, then they get hit with the, yeah, you're a dummy because I told you it was going to happen. I was like, damn, bro, that sucks. You learned your lesson though. You know what I mean? Like when kids fucking make messes and shit like that, or they get dirty and shit like that, you're like, hey bro, like now like you're gonna get hella fucking messy when you do it. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like you're gonna have to clean it when you make messes. But don't ever belittle your kid, you know what I mean? And I think a lot of parents deflect their insecurities onto their kid. And a lot of people try
that is one of the most common reasons that parents and children have falling out.
Because they deflect, oh, I've done so much for you, oh, I've done this for you, I've done this for you know what I mean? And yeah, you have, but
that's
also
your job as a parent. You brought me here.
Yeah, absolutely. You're supposed to sacrifice.
You made that choice when you had me.
Yeah, and you now have a responsibility to try and make sure that this kid is set up as
I didn't choose this, you did.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And it's just it's very tough to
I think it's a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah, and I think as a parent, the more open-minded the parent and the more that they treat their kid as a human being from younger age, you will be surprised at the type of human being you end up fucking raising.
Yeah, and I think that when it comes to insecurities, if your child is open with you and has a good relationship with you, you also talking to your child especially, or even if you don't have that great of a relationship and you're trying to make it be a better one, talk to him about your insecurities and saying like, hey, I feel like this. Can you talk to me about how you feel I am as a parent, or I feel like I have taken missteps when raising you, or I feel like you don't enjoy spending time with me.
Yeah.
And having that conversation can also really strengthen a relationship because it shows that you're willing to be vulnerable to somebody and show that you're not perfect.
Yeah.
Which is what a lot of kids idolize. They feel like their parent is perfect until they're either rudely awakened from it or they grow up enough to see like, oh, we're not in a good situation.
Yeah.
Or, whatever it is. So talk. It all boils down to communication, but like I think family gets particularly rough because everybody feels like they have to keep their family in their life. They have to have good relationships with them. When in reality, like you can make it work or you can let it go.
And also a lot of the parents who try and like, I'm always right, yada, yada, this and that. Like don't do that shit, bro. Cause the cool thing about kids is kids don't see the world for what it is yet. So when they think of things in such a simple minded term, 9 times out of 10, it can show you something that you would have never thought about because you're thinking of things in such detail.
Yeah.
And thinking about the world for what it really is, when a kid is just like, nah, bro, it's just like this.
You're also thinking about the world from your point of view when you were that age. When it's different, it's changed. I remember one point I had a really bad day. I had got, like, someone posted something about me on social media. It was a big deal. And I was like freaking out about it. And my parent was like, I don't remember which one it was. It was my mom or my dad, but they were like, it'll be gone by tomorrow. I was like, no, you don't understand. Like, this doesn't go away.
Yeah.
This is here and I will hear about it and it'll get brought up repeatedly because it'll get shared. This is here for a while. And like that kind of dynamic changes.
Yeah.
Anyway. I do think that we kind of have definitely pivoted a lot. I want to talk about why you formed insecurities really quick and then kind of cap off some stuff. But why do you feel like we form insecurities, or how are they festered?
Because we compare ourselves.
Solidified.
I think we compare ourselves a lot to different situations. Social media has a big influence on our insecurities. People are always comparing themselves to whether it be influencers, models, whatever it be. I think, kind of talking about it last episode, but I think porn has a huge fucking influence on insecurities when it comes to movies when it comes to like what sex is and what
Marvel's made it particularly bad, I think, if I'm honest. Yeah, because now everybody wants to be Captain America.
That's true.
Or Thor.
Yeah, that's true.
You never hear somebody go, I want to look like Iron Man.
No, they want to go, I want to be rich like Iron Man.
Yeah, they go, I want to be rich like Iron Man, and I want to look like Captain America.
Mm-hmm. It's fucking crazy. And it's the same thing with porn. It's like, oh, it's supposed to be like this, supposed to be like this. But they, obviously, like, if you ever watch interviews like with porn stars or like the GQ, when like they'll like, oh, male influencer, woman influencer, adult star interview, yada yada. 9 times out of 10, they'll tell you like, bro, like that shit is so awkward sometimes. Like, I remember one dude, he was like, bro, you have to be comfortable with someone being 2 inches away from your balls where they can like blow on it. You know what I mean? And it's like, he is like, bro, he has a huge camera next to your nutsack while you're just deep in this girl. He was like, y'all don't realize like this shit is fake, bro. You know what I mean? And I think it's just super funny because like a lot of people are always like, oh, it has to be like this. It has to be like this. You know what I mean? So yeah, I with me going like celibate, I've been trying to like obviously like look into it a little bit more and the whole science behind it. But there's so much out there that has like influence on what people compare themselves to. I have to be this way. I have to be this way. How about you fucking talk to the man, woman, being, universe inside your head? Have a conversation with yourself. What do you want to do? What makes you happy?
And that's kind of something that I've realized is like with a lot of stuff recently in my life involving my health and some other stuff, I have really like been like, okay, what makes me happy? You know, I want to start working out, but I don't necessarily feel like I want to reach a point where I look like Chris Evans. I don't want to look like Captain America. You know, I don't want to look like Thor. I want to look like me, but just a lot more in shape. You know, I want to be like toned. I don't need to be swole.
I feel you.
You know, like I would be happy with that.
Yeah. Just like a little 6-pack.
Not even just that. Just like not, you know, just like, and I'm already just kind
being
of, yeah.
Like,
and I'm already a little toned. It's more of just like, I want to be like where I want to be really comfortable in my skin.
Yeah.
And that's what would get me there.
I feel you.
But with that of like why we have insecurities, I also want to talk about healthy ways to deal with them and how to feel comfortable in your own skin. And I think that we already kind of touched on that, which is like having that conversation with yourself and being honest of like, what do I want? How do I get there? And how can I be happy with where I'm at now in the process of getting to there?
First things first, you have to be honest with yourself.
I'm the realist.
All right, so we're going to wrap it up. No, I'm just playing.
We haven't had a lot of comedy this one, all right?
Stupid bitch.
Well, my insecurities. I don't want to be a female dog.
They're all of Jackson's insecurities are my fault.
Tragic.
Very tragic. That's why we work well with each other. But building those, you just have to build certain things. Like for me, whenever I get into a heated argument, whenever I get into a situation, I have built the habit of taking just a quick little like in, out, USA, calm the fuck down. It's not that deep. Because for me, what helps me balance it out is I'm still going to listen to this person, gather my own opinion about what this person just said to me, see if it actually applies to me, if I can actually apply it, you know what I mean? Then if not, it's like, all right, who the fuck are you? I'm good. You know what I mean? But I think people automatically jump to the who the fuck are you? Stop talking to me. Or you don't know me like that, so your opinion is valid.
You know my name, not my story.
You all right there, bud?
Yeah.
Jesus.
That was Pennywise's main motivation in it. That's why he was killing all the kids. He was
fuck them kids, bro.
He was like, you know my name, but you don't know where I've been. You don't know what I've been up to, other than killing kids.
Yeah, bro. Fuck them kids, bro. Georgie, drown his ass. Drown his ass.
Dude, a little worse than that. He ripped his arm off.
Yeah, that was rough. Either way, no, man. Be honest with yourself. Start talking to yourself a little bit more. Start letting other people's opinions not make a difference, but take them into consideration and take something out of it that you can learn. There's always something to learn in people's words. There's always something to learn in what somebody else has to say, what they're doing. And someone's opinion is not necessarily always right or wrong. But obviously they're saying it for a reason. You know what I mean? Everyone believes in different things. Everyone has different mindsets. Everyone has different perspectives.
Sometimes it's worth it to get it.
Sometimes it is worth it to try and be an open-minded as possible. Look at life from as many angles as you can, because 9 times out of 10, you're missing one angle, and that might be the angle where shit changes.
Yeah, you never know the one thing that is said to you that makes you really go like, this is what I needed to hear to turn things around for myself.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Don't be afraid to accept shit that you're not used to. Don't be afraid to accept shit that you're not used to hearing. Don't be afraid to accept the shit that you don't want to hear. That's the big one.
And with that, I think we're going to come up.
Hell yeah, brother!
Brendan, what you coming up with?
Oh, yeah, I'm talking my shit, bro. Hey, do me.
You can always tell on the audio too, by the way, when you are looking at the screen and you read it.
Because it's a big pause.
Yeah, you go pause and then you go, oh.
I'm gonna talk my shit, bro. I know a lot of people are in a lot of situations where the job that they have is what's keeping them surviving. And a lot of people are not happy with those jobs. You know what I mean? I know a lot of people who work for said places who are like, yeah, I need this job because I'm surviving. I have shit to pay for. And I'm here to say, do yourself the favor and find another job. Start looking for that other job that even if it doesn't make as much money, or even if even if it doesn't start out like that, take the leap. Only because I've seen a little bit too many people work for somebody who belittles them and does not treat them as human beings, and kind of just goes on power trips. You know what I mean? Like whatever I say goes. And for me, the way my dad has raised me is that no matter who you are as a human being, you're never above anybody else. And I think that's kind of like the normal thing, you know, to kind of like preach. But like in a serious sense, like we are never above anybody else. And I think that if you are being treated as such to where you are below somebody because they're in a higher position of power or because, you know, they have a little bit more say so, one, either fight it. Don't be afraid to speak up, because you sticking your foot down, standing up for yourself, you never know how many other people are like, damn, bro, like you're hella right. Like I should be standing up for myself. I should be saying this. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of tough for me. Just because I've always been, you know me, I've always been the type of person where it's like, I don't care who you are to me. You know what I mean? I don't care who you are. If you try and belittle me and put me down, like, you gonna remember me. You know what I mean? You gonna know exactly who the fuck I am. You know what I mean? And that leaves marks on people, dog. Like when they see you out in public type shit, like it automatically strikes like oh shit. You know what I mean? Just because if you're not somebody who lets somebody roll over you, if you're not somebody who just lets you fucking, oh, I got control over this person. You know what I mean? Because I'm said this person. Like, nah, bro. Status don't mean shit. You know what I mean? For me, I like to judge people off of like, oh, you're a good human being. That's sick. I fuck with you. You know what I mean? Like, I can respect you. And for me, if you can't respect the person you're working for, you shouldn't be working for them in the first place. So. Yeah. Gang shit. Also, I don't know if it's still recording.
It should be fine. Yeah, it's recording.
Cool. I figured. But yeah, what about you, my guy?
I want to talk about how I got into the tech world.
Bitches.
So there's kind of two stories to this, because there's the tech side that is like PCs and stuff like that, and then there's the tech side that is like theater and audio and stuff like that. And real quick, I want to hit the theater stuff. So when I was in like 8th grade, we would go across the street to the high school and watch matinees. So they would put on the play that was about to show, and they would perform for us.
That's lit.
And of course, a lot of the people didn't give a fuck. It got us out of class, and that's the main thing. Yeah. Some people would sleep, whatever the fuck, right? I remember one time I was walking in, and the booth, which is where all the audio and lighting stuff is right above the audience. And so you have like, there's a spot that we used to call the not alive spot, unalive yourself spot for YouTube purposes. And
hell yeah.
And so the crew at the time would sit there all the time. Very bad seat. Shouldn't sit there because we'd get yelled at. And he would drop pennies on like the 8th graders that were coming in.
That's fucked.
Yeah, oh yeah. And one of them hit me, and I look up and I just see the guy, and he's laughing, and I'm like, I want to do that.
I want to be that guy.
Yeah. And like I watched the show, and I thought it was awesome because there was a lot of cool stuff, like cool effects and stuff like that. And it was, in particular, there's two of them. It was Wizard of Oz and Get Smart. And those two really dragged me in of like, oh, this is really cool. Because Wizard of Oz, they had like fog machines when the wizard was there. So the giant mask, and they had like cool lighting effects for that. It was really, really well done. Especially for now what I know about the budget that they have and like all the behind the scenes stuff and what that shit looks like. Yeah, it was really, really impressive. And then I burned that face later on in my high school career because what else were we going to use it for?
Hell yeah.
It was crazy.
Nice.
So I get in my freshman year. I end up signing up. Me and my friend do. He ends up leaving. And my other two friends were supposed to sign up with me. Didn't. And so I just go in and I stick with it. And there's like 17 of us or 18 of us in this small booth. And the booth is only supposed to fit like 6 or 7 of us comfortably.
Nice.
So we're all packed in. And it was kind of just Survivor Island. We just slowly kicked people off. We were like, go join this crew or dip. And that was kind of what it was. And so I, from there on out, just like learned everything. Like I took everything in. Like I cleaned lights. I learned how to clean bands. I learned how to hang lights. I learned how to like move power supplies. I learned how to like do everything that I possibly could. And I just kept absorbing it. And like a week before the play, I had the crew head come up to me, whose assistant was a senior. Crew head was a junior.
Okay.
And the assistant is Jarek.
Oh.
Yeah.
What a guy.
So that's how I got to know him. And Jarek was the one who pushed me and was like, hey, crew head, because they're friends at the time. And he was like, hey, he should be your assistant because you need to have one by next year. Or like preferably this year so you can teach him throughout all of next year. So you should have him be your actual assistant so you can start learning. Or so that he can like be prepped.
Yeah.
And so that's what ended up happening is I got moved up. I became the assistant. They told me super pog, and then I started learning everything, and I hung out with them, became friends, and then all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
But like from there on out, I was basically hooked. Like I dedicated myself to learning everything I possibly could. I read manuals. I like learned machines inside and out. I went against adversity. Like come my sophomore year, I was really established. Everyone in the theater knew me. I was doing a lot of work. I was like helping on all of the crews pretty much. Like I really started to make this name. And about halfway through the year, our crew head was basically checked out. And he was like, you're basically the crew head, just so you know. And there was another person who had joined, and she was kind of like also rivaling me for assistant because the manager of the tech stuff, so the teacher that was in charge of it, was like, I like her more. But the crew head was like, Jaxon has been doing this for a while and knows what he's doing, and he wants it, and he makes decisions well under pressure, and he's the one who fixes everything.
Sounds like Jaxon.
And so I eventually proved myself to him, and he was like, yeah, you're right. You should be this person, not her.
Hell yeah.
And it was good. It went well. There was a lot of cool stuff that really happened. But I just like loved it. I fell in love, and I did my best to learn everything and be as good as I possibly could at that. And so I learned about like audio. So like technically what is happening right now is we have mechanical audio that is going into digital audio that becomes mechanical audio when somebody listens to it again. And just like I've learned all this stuff. That's how I learned about my audio stuff. I learned how to do lighting. And then the tech world, one Christmas I got a laptop. And I started playing Minecraft on that, and that was a whole thing. And then at one point Jarek was talking to me, and laptop is how I'd been playing games, because on my laptop, like the PC games, which is really bad, doesn't run well. Anybody who has ever played on a laptop knows that it runs like shit. And Jarek and I were talking, and we were talking about Payday. And I had played on console a bunch, and so we talked about that. And then he was like, "Oh, you play on a laptop," which at the time he called a fat top. And so we kind of go back and forth. And then before Jarek leaves, because he was going to go join the armed forces, I talk about building a PC with him. And then he left before I had the money for it. And so I ended up getting a custom, like a pre-built one. He came back, he comes and looks at it. He breaks down the PC with me, shows me everything. And then from there on out, I learned how to build PCs. I took it apart several times, re-put it back together, and taught myself from there on out. He's like, this is what this is. This is what this is. This is how you tell what it is. And then I'd watch a video the first time that I took it apart. And then from there on out, I just kept putting it back together myself until I learned how to like build everything. And then I learned how to do like BIOS and troubleshooting and all of that stuff through just like trial and error and forcing myself to learn something that I loved.
What a guy. Oh, yeah. Some gang shit.
Yeah, and now I, build PCs for fun.
Literally.
But that's kind of how I got into tech stuff. I still miss theater. I love going to Broadway. The one time that I went, I really want to go back.
I know my mom's going to go to Broadway in New York when she goes out there. They want to go see Lion King.
The plan was originally for me to go into doing stuff. I was thinking for a while about moving to New York and just getting a job because I know that I could.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah.
I want to go to Japan, so
I think it'd be cool to do like a summer retreat there and just like
that would be tight.
Or like even a winter retreat because I love the snow and just like experience.
Yeah, but you got to be careful in New York, dog.
Yeah. But anyway, I think that's where we're going to wrap it up.
Hella. I appreciate everyone who's listening.
Yeah.
Love you guys. Hope you guys are doing well. Be a good fucking human being.
Brendan, where can they find you?
KillerB420 on Instagram and Twitter, and KillerBDabs on TikTok. What about you, dog?
You can find me at RQ on Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, and
not Instagram.
Yep, YouTube. Just Twitter. That's the one.
Twitter.
And then if you like the podcast, you can find us both.
Coming up for Aircast on Instagram and up for Aircast on Twitter. And then I think it's coming up for Aircast on TikTok, I believe.
And if you really like the podcast, make sure to share it with a friend, follow, and rate the podcast. It really helps us out.
And if you're on YouTube, drop a sub.
We don't have any way to promote the podcast other than social media, so please share it with friends if you find anything that somebody would enjoy.
Hella, dog.
But otherwise, we'll see you next week.
Hey, like last time, peace, love, tranquility.
Bye.